What's happening everyone, TomGorian here, welcome to episode number 2 of the F124 Alpine To Glory Driver Career Mode series. Today we are entering Melbourne for the second round of Season 1 of the Alpine To Glory. It's the Australian Grand Prix. We're coming off the heels of our Formula 1 debut in Bahrain, and we start this video with some specialty goals. We've got this manufacturing expert goal. So we're going to pretty much select these two options here. Drive 90 meters during a race weekend. That seems like a very easy objective to do. Make sure you watch the previous video, our Formula 1 debut in Bahrain, and also our journey throughout F2 on F124 to understand how we got to this point in the series. So far, we're quite early on in this series, and if you like what you see, then subscribe to the channel. However, we're going to start this video with some bad news. The front wing adjuster bracket has failed as far as the front downforce is concerned. That was Pierre Gasly's upgrade that he chose for this weekend, and that has failed. However, I'm not really bothered about the aerodynamics because we need to focus on our chassis. However, it gets from bad to worse as we have a second upgrade failed, and this time it is the chassis. It's the floor stiffening stay positioning upgrade to reduce the weight. We needed that upgrade because, simply put, we have the worst chassis, as you can see. However, good news, in the time remaining for the upgrade, we will get that upgrade on right before the Australian Grand Prix. Advancing time, as you can see, we've got 2 weekly resource events as we've dropped down the vehicle performance comparison towards the second worst car, just ahead of the Haas and behind the RBs. Advancing in towards the timeline, as you can see, as we roll the 19th, we got the weekly resource points, and as you can see, we get the confirmation of the upgrades failing thanks to Mark. And once again, we go to pretty much the R&D section, and as you can see, we've got no chassis and no aerodynamics upgrades. And as you can see, once again, the front wing adjuster bracket has failed again, so we're gonna have to pretty much get that on the car for the Japanese Grand Prix in the next video. However, now we come to the specialist goals menu, and as you can see, there's 6. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next after I do the manufacturing expert upgrade, which is pretty much drive, was it 9 or 5 miles in a race weekend. I'm thinking about doing the material fabrication planner for the next race weekend. Complete 5 laps in practice sessions, or complete 5 laps without any penalties or warnings during a race weekend. The goals seem quite easy for the specialist upgrades, so I think that's what we're going to do in the next race. However, we can't focus on Japan, we've got to focus on this weekend. Let's see if we can try and have a better weekend here in Australia.
A warm welcome everybody, we're here in the heart of Melbourne. It's Albert Park and it's qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix.
So here we are for qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix, and pretty much the first thing that I will say is that this weekend I am definitely more comfortable with this game compared to the race I did in Bahrain for a number of things. First of all, I'm getting used to no line as far as just, you know, braking and just confidence around the circuit. Second of all, I'm getting used to the setups. I'm understanding just a little bit what works as far as front brake bias, the differential, the wing values, the ride heights. The first lap we do an 18.1, which puts us 4th place. Now, I will say this, the difficulty on this video is 98. Now, I thought it was hard enough on 95 difficulty in the previous episode because we came 13th, but clearly, I don't know if the AI are unbalanced or if we've picked so much knowledge of this game that we're just automatically quicker with no line. But I think in the next video we're going to go to 103 and beyond for the remainder of the season. So, final lap here in qualifying. As you can see, we nailed turn 1 and we are just under 2 temps up. 100 meter board in towards turn 3, cleared the apex perfectly. And with this weekend, I'm actually running the force feedback. Now, if anyone has a Logitech G923, let me know your force feedback down below in the comments. But I've had to literally unplug and replug my wheel like so many times during practice sessions and qualifying, and I'll do so again in the race, simply because the true force feedback really helps in this game. But it's just the fact that you can't you don't really have the force feedback when you load into the game. When you start session, you have to unplug and replug the wheel. So that's an issue I'm having. Anyway, entering Sector 3, we got a little bit wide. We have a lockup on the front right. We were just over 2.5 temps up, but however, we've lost some time as we enter the final couple of corners. We've got to nail this corner here, the penultimate corner, second gear. Make sure you don't lose the back end there. As we go in towards the final corner, it's going to be a 2/10 improvement. No, it's not. We actually hold the overtake button, and it's just going to be over a 2/10 improvement to 79. Across the line we go, and we're going to start the Australian Grand Prix in P3, which is unexpected. I did not expect to start the Australian Grand Prix, the second race of the first season of the Alpine To Glory, literally over 2 temps away from Lando Norris, who's on pole position. 18.7 for Max and Lando, 18.9 for us, and a 18 flat for Zhou Guanyu.
Well, once upon a time, this used to be the season opener before it fell victim to a pandemic reshuffling. But now Albert Park is back at the heart of the F1 calendar, so welcome to sun-kissed Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix. So here we are at Albert Park Circuit, 3.28 miles around, with the streets making for a bumpy surface with little undulation. There are 14 corners around the lake, with the best passing opportunities coming at turn 1 and turn 3. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Thomas, Zhou, Leclerc, Russell, Perez, Bottas, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Hamilton, Albon, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Tsunoda, Sargent, Magnussen, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. So I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about this afternoon, and who's going to talk about it with us? None other than Naomi Schiff. Hi Naomi. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for...
Welcome to the grid here in Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix. The recommended strategy is now a one-stop, and I think now we understand the meta as far as the game is concerned. One of the things that I think have helped the tyre wear is the brake pressure. I'm not running at 100 anymore. I'm now running around about 95, 96 brake pressure, which means that I think the braking force, you can't really brake as late as you could do on F1 23, but I think it's just a thing we have to get used to it, as far as the braking pressure and how much you have to brake. Here, I'm just trying to mess around with the strategy as far as what tyre to start on, if it's the hard tyres. As you can see, we gain 6.6 seconds of lap time, to the point where we are, 1,000th of a second slower starting on hards compared to the medium tyres. I'm messing around with the transmission here. I've upgraded the wing value by just 1. As you can see, I am on 95 brake bias, increasing the tyre pressure just a little bit to try and help with the tyre temperatures and also the tyre wear. And there's confirmation that everyone else with us is starting on the medium tyres. However, the goal to try and score a top 10 to score our very first points of this career mode series.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway and the track temperature looks warm, and that may or may not play into some of the team's hands in today's race. So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. But the question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, and which ones have got it horribly wrong?
I don't think anyone will have the strategy horribly wrong, considering everyone else is on the medium tyres. And there's confirmation of the one-stop. Lando on pole, Max in second. We are in P3 for the first time, we've qualified ahead of the Ferraris, Sergio Perez, both Mercedes, and also Zhou Guanyu. So this could be a very unexpected race here today in Melbourne. Remember, last season, we were on the verge of scoring a top 5 before the safety car comes out, but it's all about this year as we get ready for 5 red lights for episode 2 of the Alpine To Glory. And it's lights out and away we go in Melbourne. It's a great start by us. Verstappen has bogged down a little bit. We're into second. We're going to go side by side with Lando Norris in towards turn 1. We're going to have the inside line, hit the apex. We take the lead here in Melbourne, Australia. It's a great start by us. And Lando really broke late. Well, he didn't break late. He broke really early as we head towards turn 3. But it's been an absolute great start for us as we lead the pack in towards turn 1. So, pretty much, the objective, I didn't really expect to be competing against Verstappen and Norris, and also Zhou Guanyu has overtaken Max Verstappen here in Melbourne, so an Alpine leads and a Kick Sauber is in P3. This is ridiculous, but as we begin lap 4, it's clear that we don't really have the straight line speed to compete against Lando Norris. As you can see, Lando Norris overtakes us right there, and Lando Norris retakes the lead. However, we're not really fighting against, Lando, Max, maybe Charles Leclerc. We're fighting with Zhou Guanyu, we're fighting with our teammate, and we're just trying to see if we can get into the top 10, maybe. So, what I'm going to try and do is I'm not going to try and overtake Lando Norris. I just want to see if we can break away from that pack. As you can see, I think that's Albon. We've got a Ferrari, Carlos Sainz there entering entering that chicane. The RB cars right there. So pretty much the aim is to use Lando for the DRS to break away from that train of cars, and then hopefully with the pace that we have, try and secure a low top 10 finish, because if we can do that, we can score points. But look at the tyre wear, 107 tyre temperature there. So I don't know why the AI are really slow. As you can see, we are all over Lando Norris, but I'm guessing the reason why they're slow is because they're really focusing on the tyre temperature. We nearly lose the back end there as we head towards 10 number, what is it, the third sector. I think it's like 10-11 or something. But we retain the lead once again, and it's clear that I don't think the McLarens are really pushing as much, but we can't really break away from the pack as far as Norris and Verstappen is concerned. But yeah, lap 10, we go a little bit wide there on the entry of the fast right-hander where George Russell had his crash in real life. And now we get the DRS wide open, and we're just going to try and just follow Lando Norris. I think this race really told me as far as the meta of F124 is concerned, as far as setup value. It is kind of like last year's game with the wing values and stuff, but I'm guessing that might change with the setups when the handling patch comes out in the next couple of weeks. We overtake Lando Norris around the outside in towards 10, 12, I think. 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, yeah, 10, 11 onto lap 12. Norris tries to go down the inside, but we do cover him off. I think it's clear that we are now more quick in the 90 difficulty, but look at the tyre wear on the front left, 78%. So clearly, I think the McLarens and the front runners are really, holding back as far as the tyres, and we just make it to lap 12. We're going to do 17 laps on the hard tyres. We box for the hards. We're going to go from mediums to hards, unless there is a safety car that comes out in this race, and we come out with a 2.5 second pit stop, and we are going to rejoin the race into last place. However, we are going to have clean air. I think did Sainz have damage? I have no idea, because he's literally in last place, so I'm guessing Sainz either had damage or he's doing a major undercut. However, the next lap we have a purple second sector, we do 25.4, and we've absolutely jumped Max Verstappen and Lando Norris in the box. So it looks like the difficulty is a little bit too low. We're running 98 difficulty, but yeah, it looks like in the next race we might have to be running around about, I'd say, 103, maybe 104 difficulty in the next race. I think the next race is Imola, I'm not really sure, but lap 15, we are now halfway through the Australian Grand Prix, and we're in P2. We set a 20.8 that lap time, and we're not really trying to push that much, even though we have a 1.5 second gap towards Max Verstappen. We're just trying to feel out the game, and that's what this race is all about. These first 5-6 races just trying to understand the car, trying to understand the game, trying to understand what works, and just to see, how the car behaves in certain situations. However, now we are pretty much close to Carlos Sainz, and look how much time we gain on the exit and entry of the chicane, to the point where Carlos now boxes, so it's clear that he did have damage at the first couple of laps, so he's had to do pretty much a medium, probably a double medium soft stint in this race. So 9 laps to go, and we are somehow in the lead. Verstappen is overtaking Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc is now really setting the pace as he has the fast lap of the race. But our goal is the same. We're not really looking to win yet. We're just wanting to try and score points if we can, and we are on course to do so with 7 laps to go. However, Verstappen tries to go down the inside, and we're not going to really fight him. Verstappen does take the lead. I've noticed that the AI are very slow on the exit of corners, and there's multiple times in a race situation where they overtake you, but they don't really want to overtake you, so you're just side by side, and you lose so much time to the AI. I don't know if that's going to be patched for when the game fully comes out. By the way, since today is now the release date of F1 24, happy release day as we lose the back end. It's not a happy day for us, unfortunately. No, it's not. We lose the back end again, and we've lost second and third here in Australia. And chances of a podium maybe have gone. Maybe that was a rookie mistake. Maybe we just got greedy on the throttle too much there, and we've just lost the back end there, and that has cost us second and third place with 2 laps to go. Anyway, Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc battling for second place. We're going to overtake Charles Leclerc around the outside in towards turn 5, and that is a sensational move. And we are now all over the McLaren of Lando Norris as Verstappen has pulled out a 4-second gap already. So it looks like Verstappen is going to win this race. However, as we go into the ultimate lap, we are very close to Lando Norris. We lock up there on the front right, and that has cost us third place to Charles Leclerc. Rookie mistakes already in our Formula 1 career. We've never stepped foot on the podium. We're not going to do so this weekend, but I don't think that matters. Max Verstappen wins in Australia. Lando finishes second. Charles Leclerc finishes third. But we're going to have our first points finish in Formula 1.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Another superb Australian Grand Prix comes to an end then, and it's a thoroughly deserved victory.
Well, that's 2 wins in a row for them now. That's really going to help them gain confidence and start to build that momentum that they're really going to be looking for.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Unfortunately for us, it's not going to be a podium finish. However, it's going to be our first points finish of the season, 4th place here in Melbourne, Australia, and I think the team will be absolutely delighted with that performance. Considering the fact that we had such a good start in towards turn 1, we were taking the lead, and we were matching the race runners, we were matching the pace of Lando Norris, and then obviously Verstappen, his pace on the hards was just godly, and the Red Bull wins again for the 2nd time this season. However, that doesn't matter to us because we're not really competing for anything. We're just trying to find our footing into Formula 1 this our very first season, and it's okay to make rookie mistakes. But the team will be extremely happy with 4th place, 12 points already in the championship, 13 seconds ahead of Fernando Alonso. Zhou Guanyu gets 6th place, Pierre Gasly gets 14th. So it's clear that the difficulty was a little bit too low, so we're going to have to run at 103 for the next race. But we finished 5 seconds behind Verstappen, and that is, 7 seconds ahead of Fernando Alonso. But that does not matter to us because we have scored points for the very first time in our Formula 1 career, and we've also scored points quicker than our teammate, and that's all that matters. We jumped to 56 experience, 77 racecraft, 69 focus, and we are halfway through our 76 rating. We've increased our recognition as far as the first secret R&D upgrade and the second and two simultaneous upgrades, and we are now only 18% off Pierre Gasly as far as team status is concerned. As far as our specialists are concerned, we have nearly finished our manufacturing expert specialist goal, so we should complete that in the next video. But that is that for episode number 2 of the F1 24 Alpine To Glory Career Mode series. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more F1 24 content. I'm planning to do a 100% career mode race soon, maybe Canada race soon, but as you can see, you don't want to miss the next episode. We have a secret meeting. Which team is interested in signing us? You're gonna have to find out in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave like, share, comment, and subscribe for more F1 24 content, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.